Dear students, I welcome you all in my lecture series on digital electronics. Basically, this lecture series is designed to meet the requirement of the BSc third year student of this university, DDU Gorakhpur University. But this is not limited to their use only. MSc Electronics first semester students and MSc Physics who are doing a specialization in electronics together with BSc Physics students can also use the content of this lecture for their benefit. So this is the first lecture on digital electronics, and this lecture will trace the boundary of the syllabus that we have to study during this course, and it will simply form the foundation idea about what is digital, what is analog, what is binary, what are various codes, and what are fundamental logic gates. The books that I recommend for your study in this course is very first one is Digital Fundamental, written by Floyd, and most of the time I would be taking my content from this book. And second one is Fundamental of Logic Design by Charles H. Roth Jr. And third one is very famous book, Digital Design, and very well written book, Digital Design by Maurice Mano. There is one more book that you can consult, is An Engineering Approach to Digital Design by Fletcher. But those who are at the beginning level of the study of digital electronics, I will recommend this book to go through, and then they can refer any one of these three. So just to start with, I would like to explain you what the term digital means. But if I divide the total electronics in two parts, rather electronic system or electronic signal, whatever you say, it can be divided in two domains. One is digital signal and system, means digital electronics, and other is analog signal and system, means analog electronics. Basically, any system, any complete system is made up of the hybrid of these two. You can find the component which are truly analog, and rather not only component but the system, subsystem, and you can also find subsystems of a complete system using digital blocks. After the invention of IC, scientists gradually shifted to put the more involvement of digital component or digital system on the total system. And now only in today's era, only input interface part and output interface part is made up of analog systems. Rather, input and output system are analog systems. So if I wish to define what is digital and what is analog, just we should know clear cut the difference between these two. Basically, a quantity which have continuous value means the quantity having continuous value, generally it is continuous in time also, comes under the category of analog quantity or analog signal. And one having a discrete set of value comes under the category of digital. Any practical signal, not all but most of the practical signal we encounter in our daily life are analog in nature, but there are countless examples where you can get directly digital signal in our daily life also. But here I am taking example of one of the analog signal is temperature variation of a particular, say, summer day. And what kind of graph I will get if I plot this temperature variation of a typical summer day, and this is a time at 5 a.m. morning, and this is a time where we achieve the peak of temperature is somewhere around 2 p.m. afternoon, and then temperature gradually falls down, and it is once again at 11 p.m. and so on, and night time, and then once again we come to this 5 a.m. morning. And temperature, you can say that it may vary from, if it is measured in degree Celsius, in morning suppose it is 20 degree, then 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, and the peak temperature, say it is 40 degrees Celsius. So what we observe over here, that temperature is varying in certain minimum range, from certain minimum range, say T min, which is 20 degrees Celsius, to certain maximum range, say T max, which is 40 degrees Celsius. And if somebody asks you that what value it can attain between this 20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, you will answer that it has infinite many value between this range. So this way this signal is said to be continuous valued. This is a continuous valued signal. But if I simply take observation of this temperature at every hour, simply suppose if we take observation at say 1 a.m. at night, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5 a.m., then 6, 7, and this way we are taking sample at every hour, means we are recording what is the value of temperature at this particular moment. By doing so, we are simply taking samples of this temperature and making this signal to be discrete time. We are discretizing this signal in time. Discrete time. We are making this signal discrete time. If somehow we can discretize this signal in amplitude or in magnitude also, by some means, if we can discretize in magnitude level also, means we can fix the magnitude at some fixed value, some fixed set of value, then this become discrete valued. For example, suppose at this moment the temperature was 25.82 degrees Celsius, say at say 2 a.m. The temperature was the true temperature which was recorded in continuous time. It was 25.82 degrees Celsius. Now if I assign the discrete value for all the samples and we simply omit the value which is coming after decimal, then we are left with only 25 degrees Celsius. And now we have temperature values only 20 degree, 21 degree, 22 degree, 23 degree, 24 degree, 25 degree, 26 degree, and nothing in between those. So making this kind of approximation makes the signal from continuous valued to discrete valued. In true sense, any discrete valued signal comes under the category of digital signal. Now these signals can be precisely represented by some kind of coding. But I should mention over here that as and when we observe, we make observations or take reading of any continuous time, continuous valued signal, simply at that moment only the signal becomes discrete time, discrete valued. Now if you look at a typical analog electronic system, suppose a public address system, it simply consists of a microphone, which converts the analog signal to its electrical equivalent. It converts the electrical equivalent of this signal, and this signal then fed to some analog signal processor. Here it is a linear amplifier, you can say. So this is imposed over at the input of linear amplifier, and this amplifier amplifies this incoming signal, and this amplified signal is fed to the output transducer, just because we require amplified signal, and this output transducer may be a speaker. So this is a typical example of an analog electronic system, at the input of which we can apply this continuous time, continuous valued signal, and we can obtain this analog output. A typical example of discrete valued signal is simply a CD player on which you play your music or your videos. Suppose we have a CD drive in which a CD is inserted, and it has simply recorded the value 0 and 1. What this 0, 1 and 1 represent, I will tell you in detail later on. The value is read by a laser system, an optical laser system, and then this value, means stream of 0 and 1, is fed to a digital to analog converter. In short, this is called DAC, which converts the analog equivalent of this recorded digital signal, and this signal, maybe it is a music, maybe it is a simple speech or whatever, it comes in analog form, and then it is fed to the linear amplifier. Once again, we need the linear amplifier which was needed in the analog signal processor, and then finally it is fed to the loudspeaker. Now you will ask that if each and every component that was needed in analog system, if it is still required, then what is the benefit of this digital over analog? The biggest benefit of digital processing or digital system, that it makes the signal almost noise free, means processed signal or the signal that you obtain at the output end is almost noise free. And noise was the biggest annoying thing in analog signal processing equipments. Together with this, the data portability in digital system is very easier. You can record your data anywhere and you can bring that data anywhere in the world without the requirement of any significant amount of hardware as it was needed in analog systems. You can upload all your data on internet and you can access those data anywhere in the world without keeping any significant hardware with you. Now, what I would like to define at this end is binary digits. When I am saying digital systems recognizes only two voltage levels or two current levels, and those two voltage levels or current levels are simply known as high voltage level and low voltage level. Just to make its representation convenient, we put a symbol 1 to represent high voltage level and a symbol 0 to represent low voltage level, or this may be a high current level and low current level also. Now, since you are looking that we have two symbols to represent two distinguished level in digital systems, that's why it is called binary, dependent on two symbols, and they are called, this one is called bit, this is also called bit. So basically we will ultimately represent binary digits, which insert will called as bit. So bit is the smallest unit of a binary number system. It may have value either 0 or 1. From this set it will pick up its value. So as I am saying you that it has high voltage level and low voltage level, therefore it has many names given for convenience or for logic. This high voltage level is called true, low voltage level is called false, and in negative logic this is all for positive logic. In negative logic things get reversed. What happens in negative logic? In negative logic 1 represents low and 0 represents high. Now this what this high and low is basically mean, let us see this with a simple, with the help of a simple component. Okay, suppose we are willing to apply the voltage between the range, say from 0 volt to 5 volt at the input of this circuitry. This 0 volt is called V lower and this 5 volt is called V higher. Now since it is a continuous value between 0 volt to 5 volt that you can apply at the input, then what is the acceptable value that we can faithfully apply at the input so that it can be interpreted or understood as a 1 for the circuit operation, and what is the voltage range which can be applied at the input which can be interpreted by the circuit operation as 1. So for this particular circuit or for any other particular circuit, we have a certain voltage range starting from this very minimum value which can be treated as low for that particular logic family, and this maximum value which can be interpreted as low is known as VL max, means maximum low voltage that can be applied at the input of this logic. Say this is a transistor which can be attended or interpreted as 1 by this circuit, by this component. So that value for TTL, standard TTL, this value is 0.8 volt. This is 0.8 volt for TTL. This means any voltage which is applied in the range of 0 volt to 0.8 volt is treated as low voltage. Now what is the high voltage? What is the high range? So any voltage from 2 volt to 5 volt comes under the category of high voltage for transistor circuits like this are TTL, standard TTL logic gates. So this voltage is designated as VH min, and this is the minimum high voltage that is acceptable by this particular logic, and the maximum that we can supply, that we can have, is VH max. This is VL min, the minimum low level voltage. So this is the logic level range of voltage for digital circuit. Logic level range of voltage for a typical digital circuit. This is similar to your examination marks. Suppose those who obtained a marks in the range, say from 33% to just below 45%, you say those people to be third divisioner, in your examination, and those who obtained anything more than 60% to up to 100%, you say those people to be first divisioner in your examination. And between this third division and just below the first division, there is no range acceptable in digital system, although in our system they are called second divisioner. So this is the unacceptable range. This is the unacceptable range. Why this range is unacceptable? If we apply a voltage level, say 3 volt at the input, this circuit can treat, sometimes this circuit can treat this not 3 volt, but say 0.8 means 1.5 volt. 1.5 volt. 3 volt will come over here, so this will be a high voltage. If we apply say 1.5 volt, so sometimes this circuit will take 1.5 volt as low voltage, and sometimes it will take a high voltage. So it is not fixed or well decided that this is low volt or high volt. That's why this is kept in the category of unacceptable range. Now we will deal with digital waveforms. How digital waveforms look like. Basically, a digital waveform consists of a voltage level that are changing back and forth between the high and low levels or states. Suppose we have two digital waveform. One is known as positive going pulse, this is generally low, and for some times it is changing to positive. And then we have a kind of pulse which is generally high, and it goes for low, it makes a transition for low, and then it comes back to the high. So this kind of pulse is called negative going pulse. This is low level and this is high level. This is generally high level and this goes up to the low level. Now you see that a pulse, maybe it is positive going pulse or negative going pulse, has two edges. One which makes a transition from low level to high level, and other which makes a transition from high level to low level. This transition is called rising or leading edge. Rising or leading edge, and this transition is called falling or trailing edge. Similarly, here it is falling edge and this is rising edge. So this kind of pulses are applied to trigger a digital circuit. So we should know what are different nomenclature of different part of these pulses. Now this transition which I am showing, this is almost abrupt. It appears in this picture that it is an abrupt transition, but practically it doesn't happen like this, and this transition also. So what is the practical picture of this transition and By making practical picture, we will define many terms also. Any pulse takes transition from high to low or low to high like this. So we define rise time from the 10% of the starting value. Say we record a time when the value is 10% of its maximum value, and we start counting. This is time scale and this is amplitude scale. We start counting time from this 10% value, and we count the time value. We observe the time value when it attains it's a 90% of the maximum value, and we note down this interval. This interval is called rising time or rise time of the pulse. Similarly, at this trailing edge, the time taken by pulse to reach from 90% of its value to 10% of its value is called trailing edge or fall time. This is called fall time. This is written by TF and it is called fall time. Now, what is the pulse width then, or pulse duration? It is the 50% of the rising point and 50% of the falling point. So the time difference to attain 50% of the rise time to 50% of the fall time is known as pulse width. Pulse width. So these are the different points to be know. We should know it very well on the digital waveform. Now I should stop over here and I will explain the rest of the things which are needed to make foundation in digital electronics in my next lecture. So thanks for attending this lecture. Thank you.